Okay, so today we're going to do a little tutorial on something called signatures. What is a signature? A signature is folded up pages from a sheet that will go into a book. Okay, so when I fold this up, right, I now have pages, right? And these pages can go into a book, or they could just be a book on their own. This is a 16-page signature, right? I've got 4 here, and then on the other side, I've got another 4 and another 4. That's 16. Signatures can be, as I said, they can make a little booklet all on their own, or you can take another signature, right, and put it inside, and now you have a 32-page booklet. There's a limit to how many pages you can combine, because each additional page creates what we call creep. Okay, creep is, see how these inner pages stick out a little bit? Right, the reason that happens is because the outside has longer to go, just like a racetrack, just like in track and field. You know, the outside runners have farther to go than the inside runners. The outside pages have farther to go than the inside pages. So they don't quite extend as much. And that's called creep, that little extra few millimeters. It grows every time. And you can cut it off, but at some point you're cutting off so much that, you know, you start to cut into your margins, and eventually you cut into your text. So when that happens, when you reach that limit, which varies depending on the thickness of the paper, you can start joining the signatures like this, okay? And then you could sew them along here or staple them along here, or you can take an exterior cover, right? And you could put a ton of glue in here and just jam them in, perfect bound, okay? So there's just the different ways to do that. You might say to yourself, well, you know, why bother with signatures at all? You know, what if I just had pages? Okay. Okay, you could do that, but let's think about it from a production perspective. This is one sheet. Okay, a sheet is just what goes into with the printer, the person puts into the printer machine, is one sheet. And it's 16 pages, but it's actually like 8 separate jobs, 4 sheets, front and back, which means they have to print 8 different printing plates have to be created, and the machine has to be run for 8 separate runs to get the exact same as what we would produce from here, doing 1 front and 1 back, right? So, you know, it might not sound like a lot, but it's actually the difference. It's what is it, a factor of 4, right? It's 4 times as many runs to do it this way. And that's just one 16-page signature. If your book is made out of a dozen 16-page signatures, you can start to see how that's times 4 every single time. There's a massive saving for operating this way. And so that's why the industry operates this way, all right? Just some terminology we should go over. As I said, this is a sheet. This is a sheet. This is a page. This is a leaf. Okay, so the front of the page and the back of the page make a leaf. And then these 2 leaves, which are connected, are called conjugal leaves. All right. Now, this is a sheet and this is a sheet. So not all conjugal leaves make one sheet. I think that should make sense. And then a spread is 2 facing pages. Okay, and the facing page, a spread is not always on a conjugal leaf, right? Because if we have a book like this, this spread, right, they're not connected. So it's a spread, but it's not on a conjugal leaf. And actually, the only conjugal leaf you ever really have, the only conjugal spread you ever really have is in the middle of a signature, right, like this. So these spreads are not conjugal, they're not actually connected. And if you ever have graphics that cannot be broken up, so an example, maybe a map, right? If you have a map with lots of fine details and streets, and you don't want those streets to be broken up by the binding, right? I'll draw your street here. I'm gonna draw a street. Okay, and then the binder comes along and this gets misaligned just a little bit, right? It doesn't work, right? If you can manage to get that map on the perfect spread, then no matter how complex that is, you're never gonna have an issue. Those are always gonna line up because they're on a perfect spread. All right, sorry about that detour. Why do we designers need to learn about signatures? Well, signatures are required for understanding imposition. Imposition is the process of knowing how each page should be placed and in what orientation it should be placed on our sheet, on our signature sheet. Let me give you a demonstration of that. Suppose, for example, that you had your InDesign file, right? And you created all your pages and you just started naturally, right? You're like, okay, I'll start in the top right or left and I'll move down and I'll just go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. Good, makes sense. Okay, and then we fold it up and okay, we clearly have a problem. It starts with F, it ends in E. These are upside down. Okay, well maybe I'll fold it differently. Okay, this time I'll fold it this way. Okay, well that's no good. That's no good. What if I put A this way? Okay, and I know that's good. And I can fold this. Well, I know B isn't. See, it's very confusing. So we want to understand this so that this confusion never happens to us. Now there is software built into InDesign called the Booklet Maker, which will actually do that for us. The problem is it doesn't always work because the Booklet Maker sets it up one way. And if the printer, the printer machine, changes things, then it could come out wrong and you won't understand why. You won't know how to fix it unless you understand imposition. So some of the reasons it could come out wrong are you set it up as a booklet and InDesign handles the imposition, okay? And the paper feeds like this, and then it flips like this. That's different from if the paper goes in like this, and then it flips like this. So watch, I'm gonna put it in, our 1 is here, and then I'm gonna flip it like this, and now our 1 is here. So if it prints this side, right, that would be different than if it went through like this and then flipped this way. Now our 1 is here. If it prints this, it's going to be upside down.
But if you understand impositioning, you could tell the printer to flip on the short side or the long side so that it works out.
All right, that's just one problem that can happen. So that's why we really want to know what's going on and where everything should be. So let's look at it. I've already drawn 2 numbers. These numbers are like easy to figure out, and I'll show you why in a minute. I've already drawn 2 numbers. Let's fold it up and then number it so that we have a guide for the rest of our lives on, how to impose a 16-page signature. So here's how I fold them. Hold the page in front of you, and along the vertical, fold it away from you once. Now along the horizontal, fold it away from you again. Now once more on the vertical, fold it away from you. All right, so that is, do it one more time here. Vertical, away, horizontal, away, vertical, away. And you can see, we know this is 1, and we know that this has to be 16. Okay? Now there's some other freebies here, right? Pages have a front and a back, right? So if this is 1, this has to be 2. right? It can't, like they're connected, it can't be anything other than 2. So I'm gonna write 2. Same with this, if this is 16, then this has to be 15. It can't be anything else. Those pages are like, they're part of the same leaf, remember? Okay, so we got those, good. Well, if this is 2, this is 2, and the 2 is like touching this, then that has to be 3, right? 2, that has to be 3, which means this has to be 4, right? And if that's 4, then when I fold this, well, this guy has to be 5. That's the worst 5 ever. This has to be 5. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, if this is 5, then doesn't this have to be 6? Why, yes it does. Okay, if that's 6, by the way, make sure you're folding it the exact same way every time, otherwise this will not work, right? If that's 6, okay, folding it together, 6 is kissing this page, so that has to be 7, right? And, well, if that's 7, the other side of 7 has to be 8. And across from 8 has to be 9. That's our perfect spread. Okay. Well, the other side of 9 must be 10. So we got that free. Okay, now what's left here? 9, 10, 16, 15, 9, 10. Okay, well, on the other side of 10 here, let's see what 10 touches. Let me find 10. Okay, here's 10. So when I fold this up, 10 is touching this right here, right? And if it's kissing 10, then that must be 11. So I'm gonna mark 11 here. Okay, 10, 11. Here's 15. What are we missing? We need 14 and 13. So here's 15, right? Here's 15. Oh, I almost folded it wrong. So yeah, be careful. So there's 15. 15 is gonna, like, let's say kiss 14. So 15 is gonna touch 14. So that means that this is gonna be 14. And on the other side of 14 has to be 13. So, oh, I'm missing one. Well, let's fold it up and find out. Oh, I just folded it wrong. 9, 10, 12. I'm missing 12. So there's 13, and 13 will touch 12. So there's 12. Cool. So here we go. This is the imposition for this particular signature. Okay. Cool, right? And this orientation is correct as well. So when you are creating your layout in InDesign, you're gonna have to have some things upside down. Now there's different ways to deal with this. Some people, depending on the content, may design it in another software and just place it in InDesign. Some people might design it all and then just flip it at the last minute. And then again, some people will use the built-in software. But the only way to really understand what you're doing is to understand this imposition. All right, cool. So let's talk about how we can turn this into a booklet. All right, I'm gonna fold it back up, following our way, vertical away, horizontal away, vertical away. Okay. Then we're gonna do something called a saddle stitch. All All right, let's look at how to do a saddle stitch. So there's different ways. I'll show you the way I learned. Okay, you can use a needle and thread. I have a knife with me, so I'm gonna use a knife. If you use a knife, please be careful. I'm just gonna put 3 holes. Okay, 3 holes. Okay, 1. Cool. Now, if you want, you can just tie it off here. Okay. Another option, probably a more secure option, is to put this through in the middle. Okay. And then if you can see, I'm capturing this here. Okay. We can just do a reef knot, you know, right over left, left over right. Just kind of like you tie your shoes. Just like that. Okay. And then just cut these off. Cool. Okay. So now our book is bound, right? If you really want it to get fancy, you come along with a thicker piece of paper, right? And you glue that. You glue that. So you cover your knot. It's very strong. It allows you to have like a thicker paper. Okay. So that's definitely an option. The last thing we need to do is free up our signature. So to do that, we're just gonna trim off as little as possible. Now it's gonna depend on the trim and bleed on your file, but I'll just, you know, cut off that much. Okay. Okay, and even though even though there's no fold here, I'm not cutting through a fold, I do want to even up this and cut off the creep. Never try to cut through the whole thing at once. Just make multiple light passes, okay? So now we have freed our signature and we have a booklet. If you're doing this as an assignment, please use a larger sheet of paper than I have, okay? I just wanted it to fit, you know, on screen. You know, so that's what this is all about. So again, this is only 16. You would have to take 2 and nest them, unless of course you did a slightly larger piece of paper. We can still do a 32-page signature all on one sheet. Okay. So I've just folded this up, pre-folded it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, times 2, right? Front and back. That gives us 32 pages. I've also sliced the middle here. You don't have to do that. I just did that because it's gonna make it easier for me to trim. I want to remind you for this one that folding order, you have to do the folding order the same every single time. If you fold it differently, you can still get a booklet, a signature, but if your numbers won't line up because obviously you folded it different, so your imposition is changing. Okay, so the order I'm gonna fold this time is I'm gonna go away vertical, away horizontal, away horizontal, away vertical. Let's see what happens if I alternate. if I alternate, if I go away, away horizontal, away vertical, away horizontal, I end up with book this way, which is actually totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. I just want to point out here that because we're adding one more fold than we did with the 16-page signature, that extra fold like changes the orientation. Okay, so we have to switch it up a bit. It's like, when you do 2 odds always make an even. Wait, yeah, 2 odds always make an even, and 2 evens always make an even, but an odd and an even make an odd. It's like one of those. Cool. So away vertical, away horizontal, away horizontal, away vertical. Great. So maybe I'll use marker. So we know this is 1, and we know that this is 32, right? That's our back cover. We also know our inside spread right off the given, because we know what the middle of 32 is. 32 divided by 2 is 16. So we know that this is going to be 16 and 17. Okay, but that's all right. Okay, so let's unfold this and let's figure out what we can learn just from what we already have. So I know the opposite of 1 is always 2, and I know the opposite of 32 is always going to be 31, right? Because they're pages, they're connected. So this has to be 2, and this has to be 31, right? Okay, so let's follow our folding order again. Away vertical, away horizontal, away horizontal, away vertical. 2, what does 2 line up with? Right, how far do we even need to go? Let's do the first fold, away vertical. So 2 is already lining up with this page. So this has to be 3, right? 2, 3. This has to be 3. And if this has to be 3, this has to be 4. Okay, so 2 touches 3. Now, our next fold is this one, isn't it? Away vertical. So look, 4 is touching this page. So this page has to be 5. Man, I'm bad at drawing 5s. This page has to be 5. If that has to be 5, well, we can infer that this must be 6. Okay, so now we gotta find out where 7 is. I'm gonna fold it. Ooh, wait, I wanna get the exact same. Here we go. I'm gonna fold away vertical, check. 6 is touching this, right? 6 is touching that. So this is 7, which means this is 8. Okay, what's next? Make sure you get the exact same folding. Okay, we're on 8, so we're looking for 9. This way, away again, so boom. So this here, so 8 is gonna touch this page. So this is 9. Unfold that. On the back side of 9 is going to be 10. Okay, so now we gotta find out what 10 touches. Faces, actually, is what I should be saying, facing pages. So here's 10, I can see through the paper here. We fold it this way, okay, right away, that one's easy. So 10 is gonna be touching this guy here. 11, the opposite of that is 12. Great. Let's reset. Vertical away, where's 12? There it is. Vertical away, horizontal away. Do we find out what 12 touches? We did. So 12 touches this guy, and right? So that means that this must be 13, which means that this must be 14. Reset. Vertical away. Where's our 13? Oh, there's our 13. Vertical away. All right. Horizontal away. 12 and 13. Oh, no, we need, my bad, we need 14. So that's even quicker. Reset. There's our 1. there's our 14. So we're gonna fold once, and 14 is touching this guy here. 14 is touching that guy. And you know, look, guess what? There's 16, 15. So we actually already knew that. But this is great because it's confirming that, you know, we've done it right so far. So 16 and 17, we already know. Here's 17, which means this must be 18. Okay, reset. 18 is here. I'm gonna fold away vertical. 18 is touching that guy. So 18 faces 19. Cool. Reset. Here we go. 1. We're looking for 20, aren't we? So we're gonna fold that this way. Oh, we already know what 20 is. It's on the opposite of 19. Sorry, I'm losing it. There we go, 20. So now we're looking for where 21 is gonna go. Keep our eye there. Reset, fold, vertical away, horizontal away. And I think there's 20. So 20 is touching this guy. 21. That means you must be 22. So now we're gonna find out what 22 touches. This one's actually easy, it's that guy there, right? But we'll do it from scratch just to make sure. Here's page 1, vertical away, and yeah, 22, that's the facing page. 23, 24, right, on the opposite side. Vertical away, horizontal away again, all right? So 24 is touching that guy. 25. 26. This one's gonna be easy, right? It's probably gonna be that one, but let's check just to make sure. Vertical away. Yep, 26. See that, 26? There we go. 27. The opposite, 27. It's 28, the other side of the leaf, right? Alrighty, reset. Vertical away. Horizontal away. And there we go, so there's 29. 29 lines up with this page. So this must be 29. The opposite of 29 has to be 30. And look, 30 is gonna match up with 21. Now you'll see there is actually a bit of a pattern here, especially with the insides, right? Look, boom, 10 matches 11, 22 matches 23, 6 and 7, right? 19, 18, 14, 15, right? But I wouldn't want to be guessing. Okay, so let's see if we got it right. Let's see if we got it all right. I'm gonna fold vertically away, horizontal away, and I'm gonna get a little stapler. And actually, if I put it this way, the ugly, like I don't know, like proboscises, like ant things will be visible, and I wanna hide them. So I'm actually gonna staple it this way. Cool. Just talking about those. And I'm just gonna cut through this, and we'll see if we got this right. All right, drum roll, please. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Again, if you do this for your assignment, please use 11 by 17, aka tabloid. Even better if you can find a place that prints super tabloid, which is 13 by 19. All right, so that's a 32-page signature. You know, an option to nesting. And it might seem harder at first, but in some ways, if you think about nesting two 16-page signatures to get 32 pages, you may say, oh, well, that's easier. But if you put one 16-page in the middle of another 16-page, then what is the first page of the one that's nested inside? What number is that? And what is the number of like the actual number of like the 5th page of that signature? So maybe that's harder for you. I know I would prefer to just do it this way. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. Bye.